Hello, fellow students. Today we will discuss the Red Sea conflict. Now, to better understand this conflict, one must first ask few questions. Questions like what is happening in the Red Sea? And why is Red Sea so important? And who are these Houthi rebels who have been causing all this ruckus? And what is its implication for global trade and for India? And what are the geopolitical developments surrounding this particular issue? Let us get into it. To understand what is happening, let us look at some of the articles which have been coming in the news recently. Problems faced in Red Sea will have no impact on India's maritime trade. So it must have some impact on maritime trade. That's why the article is coming out. US sinks three ships as it repels Houthi attack. Now, what is US doing here? And who are these Houthi rebels? Or why are they attacking Houthis? Over here, we can see that the Israel Hamas war has opened a new front. Now, what does Israel Hamas war have anything to do with this ongoing issue in Red Sea? Tankers with Indian crew hit. So it is impacting India directly. So what is this all about? So if you look at it, Houthis, which is a kind of radical organization in Yemen, which controls a large part of it, which we'll discuss further. They have been attacking ships in the Red Sea, and this has been ongoing since November. Now, why November? So since October 7, when the incident between Israel and Palestine happened, Israel attacked Gaza and they vowed to completely eradicate Hamas from Gaza. And these Houthi fellows, they have came out in support of Hamas. And they have said that their attack is directed against vessels linked with Israel in response to war in Gaza. So this is how we establish the link between what is going on in Israel, Palestine, and what is going on in the Red Sea and Yemen. So in November, they seized an Israeli cargo ship and attacked several commercial vessels. So articles like this are making rounds in newspapers for some time now. To understand what is going on, let us look at the map of the area. So this Red Sea, it's situated right here next to the Horn of Africa and where it meets the Arabian Peninsula. So it forms a kind of bottleneck. Now this bottleneck, it's between Yemen and Djibouti and also Eritrea over here. So over here we can see that in yellow we can see those where suspicious approach has been seen. The suspicious approach has been seen all around. However, the instances of physical damages are limited. Few instances that stand out is the Sai Baba tanker, which was reportedly being hit by one-way drone attack. So over here, the drone part is also very important. Keep an eye out for that. Container ship Mercer Hongzhou fired upon by small boats. So small boats are also attacking. Houthi rebels boarded Galaxy Leader using a helicopter. Now see, they've been using helicopters. They've been using drones and small ships. Sorry. So it seems like they're fairly well equipped and they've been causing issues over here, which in turn is making companies like Maersk nervous, who have been planning to use the Cape of Good Hope way, earlier Cape of Good Hope way, instead of this shorter route. Now, what can be the implications? To understand that, let us first understand what is the significance of Red Sea. This Red Sea, it is the major lines of trades which connects Europe with Asia. It comprises of over 30% of world's container traffic, over 12% of overall trade, and 10% of petroleum commerce. Now, it affects trade directly, petroleum, and container shipping. So goods and petroleum are the most vital things which runs our world, and they are being impacted. And in turn, companies like Myers, which he recently announced that it's going to pause the trade within the region for 48 hours, and it claims that it may have to use the Cape of Good Hope journey. Now, what's so bad about using the Cape of Good Hope route? This route can in turn make the journey longer, and it can add up to a week or maybe two to delivery time. It may further raise the cost by around 10 to 20%, which can have huge implications considering these trade routes are used by third world countries. And it is also very important route for India because we rely heavily upon oil import, and our oil comes from this region as well. So this article came in the Hindu, which talks about Houthi attacks a threat to global shipping. Now, why does this article come here? Because it was when a Liberian flagged merchant vessel named Kem Pluto was attacked, which was heading to Mangalore port. Now, this attack happened right next to our exclusive economic zone, which is approximately 200 nautical miles. So, in all essence, the issue has come right next to our doorstep, which is a cause of concern for India. What have we done in reaction to that? We'll look at it in further slides. Let's first understand who are these Houthis. These Houthis are a armed group from subsect of Yemen Shia Muslim. Now, this is where we establish the link between Iran, Hezbollah, and the Houthis. I'm sorry. So, how are these three connected? So, Iran basically has a proxy terror outfit or organization called Hezbollah, which is based in Lebanon. Now, Hezbollah in turn, which is basically so everywhere there is a Shia minority, Iran is one way or the other connected to any kind of rebellion that is going on in the area. So it supplies them with weapons, technologies, and military know-how. These Hezbollah are in turn now training these Houthis within the Yemen. They're also minority within the region. Now, when was this made? It is named after its founder, Hussein al-Houthi. Now, in 1990s, to combat corruption, corruption of the president Ali Abdullah Saleh, this organization was formed. It was not terror outfit back then. It was basically a civil uprising against corruption. Now, Saleh, who was backed by Saudi Arabia, tried to eliminate them in 2003. But Houthis successfully repelled them, which gave them a big boost. Since 2014, Houthis have been fighting against Yemen government, which is backed by a coalition of Arab countries. Now, do you understand the link? Now, in Yemen, the government is basically backed by Arab world, which is led by Saudi Arabia. And these Houthis, they are backed by Iran, which is a Shia country. Now, we all know about this axis of three main powers in the Middle East. One is Saudi Arabia, one is Iran, and one is Israel. So, you see, Saudi Arabia and Iran, they have been fighting proxy wars in many countries like Lebanon and Yemen, where they are fighting among each other, which is basically a Shia-Sunni fight, which they have been instigating also. Now, in this particular instance, it is an Iran-backed group which is attacking Israel-based ships, where Israel and Saudi Arabia are basically on the same page because they both want the sea lines of trade to survive. So they are all in kind of a mix over here. To better understand it, let us look at the issue further. So since 2014, they have been fighting the Yemen government, and Hezbollah gives them training and military expertise since 2014. So the idea that they have been using small ships and drones and the kind of military equipments that they use, naturally they are coming from some of the states. In this instance, chances of it being from Iran are high. They also control majority of the coastal areas. Now we have discussed what is happening in the Red Sea, who are causing it, and how is it impacting the global economics. Now let us see that what kind of response is there from the global community, especially US. So US has proposed Operation Prosperity Guardian. It is a coalition of 20 odd countries which will ensure that the sea lines of communication are protected. However, countries like Egypt and Saudi Arabia have still kept mum and are not part of that coalition. What is going on there, we'll discuss further. Under this coalition, US will ensure through its military presence within the region that all the container ships that are going through the area are protected. India has also taken a few steps in this direction, which we'll discuss further. Before that, we'll discuss why Saudi Arabia is absent. Now, we had earlier discussed that Saudi Arabia, Iran, and Israel oppose each other. But in this particular instance, Saudi Arabia is an ally of US, and so is Israel. But Saudi Arabia is also opposed to Israel's attack on Gaza. So it is stuck between a rock and a hard place and has decided to keep quiet right as of now. So has done countries like Egypt, which is also stayed away. So what can we expect this particular issue to look like in future? So recently, U.S. military said that on December 31st, Navy helicopter fired at Iran-backed Houthi rebel boats, reporting 10 rebels killed. This article was also reported in Al Jazeera, and they have confirmed that 10 of the rebels of Houthi group have been killed. Now we can expect retaliation from their side, and this can go on for some time. Now, what has India done in its response? Because as we had seen that the issue has arrived at our doorstep. India has stated that it is sending 3 warships to Arabian Sea. Now, India has this initiative called Sagar, which is security and growth for all in the region, and we also intend to become the net security provider within the region. In order to do that, we must be the first responders to protect the sea lines of communication, and which we have been doing. We have organizations like Indian Navy Information Fusion Center for Indian Ocean region. Now, IOR, which is situated in Gurugram, have been keeping an eye out within the region. We've also sent some of our warships, and we intend to protect at least our vessels to begin with. Going forward, we'll expand our security net to other countries as well. India seeks to, India, given that it is a big presence within the Indian Ocean and it is the biggest military power within the Indian Ocean region, it is also a responsibility to protect our sea lines. So, what can be the likely economic impact of all this? For Indian agriculture products specifically, it can increase the prices to around 10 to 20% if we use the Cape of Good Hope route, which is longer and takes more time. So naturally the costs are higher. Also, it may impact the oil export from the region, which our country, we depend over 80-85% of our oil is dependent upon imports. Also, this use of ballistic missiles in UAV is a cause of concern because these are state of the art technologies, state of the art weaponries, which we don't know how to counter. Even countries like Russia are struggling with it. We've talked about how oil containers are being disrupted, and BPPC, which has stopped all oil tankers within the region, within the Red Sea. It may in turn lead to rise in oil price, and over 200 billion of our export goes from the region. So by and large, what we can see, the export from our region will grow more expensive, which will make us less competitive. Our oil security is compromised because of that particular region's instability within the region. So naturally, we also are a big stakeholder in this particular issue. So what can be the likely solution of this ongoing dispute? So let us look at what Egypt is doing. So Egypt, which stands to be one of the heaviest losers from the decline in Suez Canal commerce. Egypt's economy depends heavily upon the revenue that is generated from the Suez Canal commerce. Even it has decided to keep quiet on this particular issue. Because all the Arab world, they in principle support the Palestine issue, and they cannot go out and oppose any action which is taken in the name of support to Palestine issue. So as of now, it seems that peace in the state will depend on the resolution of the Israel-Hamas conflict. So I expect you all to better understand that how are all these forces connected with each other, and how it all hinges upon Israel's quick resolution of the dispute that is ongoing in the Palestine region. And as far as India is concerned, it is an opportunity for India to show that we are a more responsible navy in the region, and naturally we will have our presence in the region. So hope this helps for you to understand this particular issue better. If you see articles from this issue, you know how to think about it now. So this is the end of the video. Thank you so much, and all the best.